Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Yorkshire Podcast Studios podcast. Yes, we've done our own because we need to. David Easson here, James Buttler over there.
Hello.
James, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. I'm looking forward to this because we're going to plough through lots of frequently asked questions, aren't we?
And this is odd because normally podcasts, and one of the questions we are asked by podcasters is, do I have to look at the camera? You don't really, do you?
No.
No, that's the main thing. I've got my microphone over here, the camera's over there, and usually after the intro bit, everything just kind of switches off and we talk to each other. That's a podcast. So I have to look at James from now on.
Simple as that.
Right, so we're going to do some frequently asked questions. I can't help it.
Do I now have to look at you all the way through
All
just
the
to
way
make a
through,
point?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see how that goes. So we're going to answer some of your frequently asked questions or questions that we think you should ask frequently if you go to a podcast studio, such as Yorkshire Podcast Studios, just off the M62 by the IKEA at Birstall. That's us. Okay, so question one, James, what are we going to delve into?
First question on my list here is why, David Easson, do we need a podcast? Why would my business need a podcast?
Well, business is the main word in there. Well, we've spoken about this before, but I believe it's part of just the way business has got to go. Video podcast is what we're talking about, isn't it? So
yes.
It's about humanizing your company. It's about showing off the great kind of company ethos that you've got. And just kind of being a bit more human, isn't it? It's about being open and honest. Honesty and integrity is a big part of it. And the main reason will probably be just to get to know you, the company, the people in your company. I mean, why else?
Well, you're effectively opening the doors of your business and showing everybody in. And the beauty of a podcast is as long as you want it to be, you can talk about whatever you want to get off your chest. And you're not limited to other forms of media and stuff like that. You can just go out there, tell people about yourself, tell people the good news stories from inside your organisation, and basically sing your own praises, tell people how great you are.
The other side of it is that actually it's not going to replace kind of face-to-face contact, but it is essentially face-to-face, isn't it? You're watching somebody talk about themselves and give a bit more information as to what you probably find out about that company. I'm not going to say it replaces the conversations that you might have if you're a client and you're going in to speak to somebody, but it does offer that little insight to say, actually, I quite like these people. I hopefully the podcast you make will people will be inclined to like you a bit more.
Well, I think that's a big part of it, because if you're dealing in business, if you're working with customers, you're spending a lot of money potentially with businesses. The people make a difference. Yeah, whether you like somebody in a meeting makes a big difference, and the podcast is showing people what lovely people you are, basically.
It also shows you're a bit forward thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It shows that you've got an idea about the way to go, the way to move forward, the way to communicate with people. And just being able to have a conversation is really important, I think, in business these days. Too much of what you see, maybe on LinkedIn, is a bit kind of straight down the barrel and do this, do that. You've got to be doing this, you've got to be doing that. Where actually, we just want to get to know people. There is the old adage that people buy from people, whether you believe that or not. But I do. I think you believe, we do buy from people, and the way that you kind of come across really does help.
And that's the reason we're sitting here doing our own podcast, to try and show you how lovely we are.
We'll try. Case studies, testimonials also work as well. So if you can get your clients on board, it shows that you've got a wider number of people that you can bring into the podcast. I think it just creates that extra dimension to you and your company, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you'll see on future editions of our podcast, we'll have people we work with being guests on our own podcast, hopefully telling you that we're good. And just opens the door up to show you. I mean, we'll show you through this series, we'll show you our studios, we'll show you a bit more about what we do here. And it's a way of showing people like yourselves watching this why you should come along and join and use Yorkshire Podcast Studios.
Which brings us to question 2 of our frequently asked questions, is what facilities do you have? So when people ring us up or email us out the blue, which is always nice, happen upon us on our website, or just find out that we're randomly here, word of mouth, which probably goes back to question 1 as to why we do a podcast. Yeah. Word of mouth, this is kind of the new word of mouth. If you can listen to what people are saying and think, I want to work with them. So what facilities do we have, James? I mean, this is Studio 2 at Yorkshire Podcast Studios. You may have seen this before on the podcast, which is a kind of a comfy, cosy little corner here, but we can actually fit quite a few people in here.
Yeah, and our studios have evolved. We moved in here in August 2022, and we set them up initially as we thought they should be, but as all good businesses, you evolve as you go forward. You kind of learn things that don't quite work. You find things that you want to have that you haven't already got. So these are probably YPS 2.0, 3.0 almost.
Three,
yeah.
some of them.
So we've got
This room was a lot smaller when we started.
Absolutely was.
Make this bigger.
Behind me, through there, Studio One is a very state-of-the-art, brand new studio. A bit more kind of formal, maybe a bit more TV kind of based. This is a very relaxed studio. At the front of the building, we've got a very big studio with all kinds of permutations. You can set that up to have all kinds of different backdrops. We've got green screen.
Audio editing facilities.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Green screen facilities as well, so you can basically present your podcast as if you're in Barbados whilst you're sitting in Birstall, Leeds. Our studios, I think you'd agree, we're quite proud of them now. We're very proud of them now.
We like showing them off. Yes,
Yeah.
we do. We'll show you a few shots of different things of what we've got in Studio 1, Studio 4, and here is Studio 2. Studio 3 is in progress.
Yes. The one thing that I always think as well is that because we're in here a lot, you become a bit blasé, you kind of get used to it. But the one thing that reminds you just how good our studios are is when you're showing somebody new around, they come in and very often just go, wow, we can see ourselves here. People like our studios.
They do. Now, when they come in, they ask another question, don't they?
Do you offer just studio hire, or can I have my podcast edited?
You can have everything, can't you? You can have the moon on a stick.
I don't think that's in the terms and conditions.
That's not on the menu. So you can come in, you can hire the studios, you can work in any of the studios we've got, hire them. We'll record everything for you, and then you can take it away and make of it what you will. There's a simple kind of studio hire fee for that. Or if you talk to us about your podcast and what you want, what your requirements are, we'll create a bit of a package for you, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, basically, you can have what you want within reason. But we'll work with you to get your branding right, to get your intros, your outros right. We'll edit the audio, we'll edit the video. We'll even go as far as publishing it for you and actually doing your social media for you as well. So you can have everything, as Dave says, from the very basic, just having your files sent to you, to having the full package from us.
Yeah, and it just means that although there isn't necessarily a price list that works for everybody, there's definitely a price that will work for you. So if you want to talk to us about your podcast idea and what you need from that, whether that's social media clips and cuts, which you will need, or anything extra in terms of different podcast ideas or different recording times or kind of extra mini episodes, basically, if you've got an idea for a podcast, come along and we'll create that package for you. There are kind of smaller packages that we can offer to people, and not actually that small. There are ways that we can really easily slot you into what we do, but essentially it comes down to kind of a monthly session that you do here and create all your content for the month. But we also realise that people are different in terms of time that they've got and the hours that are available, and also when guests are available. So we really do try and work with you as much as possible to get the right content created in as little time, and then we will make it for you. Our team of producers and editors will create exactly what you want. Next question then, as I'm looking at my notes. So what support do you offer? Well, I suppose that kind of goes into the package that you create, but also on a more general basis, if you come into the studio to record anything, we're here to support you, whether you're just doing 1 hour or 4 or 12 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the beauty of having using a recording studio as opposed to doing it yourself is that we kind of know what buttons to press. We know how to get things working. We know how to put right things when they go wrong. So you come in with peace of mind. You'll know that the product will be there at the end of it. You just have to sit there and do the talking.
Which is the difficult bit. It's also the very easy bit of when you get in front of a camera. The support is there, whether it's to do with the technical side of it, or whether it's to do with the production side, which is we will kind of get you comfortable, make you a cup of tea, cup of coffee. There is a beer in the fridge, but within reason.
Yeah,
still having a Christmas party, and what we do is we will always listen into what you're doing, and hopefully we're not going to jump in every 10 seconds and go, no, don't do that. But if there's something that we think can work a bit better, we will offer that advice, and hopefully that will work for you. There's lots of ways that we can technically help you. The technology on offer as well means that it's not just about recording content. It means that we can live stream as well from here. We can do webinars. Everything kind of feeds in that with kind of the super fast broadband that we've got here is pretty good. And in fact, it's more than that. It's solid. And that's how, we're doing more and more things like that. People are coming to us saying, can you do stuff? And we go, do you know what? Yeah, we can.
Yeah. We're basically here to help, aren't we? We're here to try and make your life as easy, your recording experience as easy as it possibly can be. Next question then is, what makes YPS different to other studios? What do we do here? What sets us apart, basically?
Well, I think that's part of what we've just said, is that we will kind of step in, and we're not that podcast studio factory, which I think people have come to us and said, well, sometimes we're kind of thrown out before our time. I mean, you pay for your time. You can't stick around for another couple of hours. But the same process is there, in that we'll talk to you, understand what you need, and we'll put things in place so that you've got enough time.
I think both of us and everybody else that works here is one of the things that I enjoy most is actually meeting the people, finding out what they're going to do. I mean, we both come from kind of work backgrounds of sports broadcasting, and it's actually been really good fun to hear business podcasts, to hear the different nuances that they want to get across. So it's that kind of creating that relationship, isn't it? And understanding what people want when they come into the doors, helping them actually get the product, get the finished, published podcast that they want to get.
Yeah, and it's that kind of journalistic background that a lot of us here have got, and whether that's presentation or actual journalising, being on the news, being on sport, being able to recognise a story is really important as well, because sometimes you come in and we'll get plenty of businesses come in and go, we've got this person to talk to and not sure how we're going to approach this, or they've got an idea that's not quite the way to expand on the story, or they've got a story that's just sitting there waiting to be told, and they don't quite realise that is a great news story, a story that could go in local media or national, if you can get it to the right people. And we've got those contacts as well, haven't we, that make sure that we can get some great stories out there and actually use that as kind of good PR and marketing for you.
I think as well, we want you to succeed. If you come in here, we want your podcast to be as good as it possibly can be. And that's right from the very start of first meeting you all the way through to the recording, but not just seeing the recording and pressing stop on the record button as the end of the process, but helping you actually promote your podcast, getting it out there on the social, get those clips in the right places, giving you the right advice to maximise the potential of what you're doing.
Yeah, there's some great possibilities for you out there. And making a podcast and creating the content that goes from, because when you make a podcast, you create all those social media clips, and actually what we kind of do, and I like to do, having made those relationships, is you get involved in the way that people want to market their company, want to brand their business, and so you actually kind of push is the wrong word. You add things from time to time and go, do you know what, you can do it in a different way. That might have worked really well in the podcast, and we can use that podcast clip, but why don't you just take another 10 minutes in the studio? You've got the time. And you can do that to camera. You can do that where you're talking off camera. You can just create it so it actually zings as a kind of 30-second clip that's really going to fly on LinkedIn and YouTube Shorts. Okay, so next question. What happens when we come to record?
That is a big thing, isn't it? Especially if it's your first time coming into a recording studio. It could be quite daunting if you've never had one of these poked in your face before and you suddenly see the lights come on. And all of those nerves suddenly kind of, I've got to get everything word perfect. To be honest, one of the first pieces of advice I'd give people is you don't have to get everything word perfect. You can see from us, we're not word perfect by any means. That's the human side of it. Everybody stumbles over a word. In the normal conversation you have with people, you don't get things word perfect. So you don't have to try for perfection, because you'll be on take number 55 before you know it. Just talk like a human being, talk about the subject that you've got enthusiasm for, and enjoy it. And that's kind of the way we kind of work here, is to try and help you enjoy what you're doing, because it should be fun. Talking about what you do for a living, talking about what you're enthusiastic about should be fun. By the time you finish speaking, you should have thought, Actually, I quite enjoyed that. And most people, when they record a podcast, it might be 40 minutes they're talking for, and you tell them it's 40 minutes. Was it really that long? That's just flown by. That's because you've actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it is a regular thing now with companies coming in, and we've got companies coming in on a regular basis, which is good that they come back. And the presenters, because that's what they've developed into, are more confident. You've got guests who are like coming back saying, "Can I actually host the next one?" And that they turn over and go, "Hold on, weren't you on a few weeks back? Yeah, but I wanted to present this one. I want to ask the questions." Because that's particularly in business, you're finding people who have that kind of drive suddenly find a new outlet for something that they can do, and they've got something to talk about, and it means that you get more and more content, more streams of ideas that come into the podcast, and yeah, essentially when you come in, we make you as comfortable as we can do. We will make you a cup of tea.
Free parking.
There is free parking. You can hopefully relax in the knowledge that you've got time to relax. Yeah. And we get you started and we get you comfortable. And as James says, it's about once you start, you're off and away and it will just fly. And the number of people who just say, do you know what? After 40 minutes, it might have felt like 40 minutes, but I did not notice the cameras there, the lights there in all of that time. And you can stop and start again. There's no, or we've got to get it all done in one go. There's no jumping in going, oh, you want to do the whole thing again because you stumbled on your words. People talk like this. People stumble. That's what happens. That's the nature of podcasts. It's that people like it. Yeah, we can make you sound a bit better with the audio recording, and the video can be edited in such a way that you look better. But actually, it's still you. That's the great thing about it.
I was going to say the editing function at the end of the process can clean up a whole host of errors as well. So the edit is your friend. So you come in, you do your podcast, you enjoy it, and then we'll tidy it up and edit it at the end of it if you've used that facility. And it is. I think I don't think I've known anybody come in here to record a podcast who hasn't actually enjoyed it. No. I can't think of one. And that's the honest truth. I think everybody that's come in,
not even me with you right now,
and there's been people come in who, when you're speaking to them ahead of it, say, "Yeah, I'm nervous, so I've got to follow that. I am." Yeah, they get on the camera and they are absolutely fine.
The thing that the line I always give people, and the other side, I'm sort of going back to what we were saying before about the positives, the differences that we've got in terms of being able to work with people and to produce people, is that I have taught this as well. So I've taught, if you want to be a TV presenter or a radio presenter, I can make you sound better. I can hopefully add a few hints and tips here and there. But what I will never do is make you into Mr. Chumley Warner, who's got a dicky bow on and is Mr. BBC from the 1930s.
Welcome to Pathé News.
That is not what we're looking for here. We're just looking for, if you want to be that, the best version of yourself, the televised video version of yourself. Even then, it's still you, and you will make errors in what you say, you will trip, you will lose your way from time to time, and it's just the way that you bring it back. Yeah. It's the way that you talk naturally, but it's never a different person. It's always you. And hopefully that's what leads people into coming back more and more.
Let's talk about money, David.
Filthy lucre, let's not talk about it.
If I am a business and I decide I want to do a podcast series, do I get discounts if I book in for a number of weeks rather than just the one-off?
Do you know, you probably do. I say probably, you do. And it's a case of kind of package building, isn't it? It's what you want over so much time. There are those basic kind of fees. It's like £140 an hour to come in for 1 hour and just record anything. Boom, you're gone. Off you go. That might seem a lot if it adds up from hour by hour, but if you book for 2 hours, you're going to be able to create at least 2 episodes, maybe 3. You might get some more out of it. Production time comes down because we get to know you better. We get to know exactly what you want, and it also means that if you commit to several months with us, that means that we will commit to you as well. Which means that, again, the numbers come down. As with anything, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Where you're if you make a commitment over a certain 4, 6, 12 months, as people have done, they foresee this as that's the game that they're going to play, which is not a numbers game, but it's an application game, isn't it? It's about actually getting yourself out there, which will hopefully lead to bigger numbers and much better feedback. And and a reaction from the content you're putting out there.
We have had people come in and just use us once for an hour. It might be that they're a distance away. They're just using it as a one-off. That's all they ever need. We may see them again in 12 months when they need to do the same thing again.
Keep
But
in touch.
yeah, they're infrequent users. But if you're creating a series and you want your business to actually have a podcast and you want to have a number of episodes, then you've got to kind of make that commitment to it. You've got to invest in that. You've got to give it the time. I mean, you can book in for half an hour. You could book in for the entire day. I've got to be honest, and kind of we may be cutting our nose off to spite our face here, because we'd obviously take your money for an entire day, but it's not, unless you've got a whole host of different presenters through that period, it's a long time. The lights get a little bit warm. It's a tiring thing. You might think you're only sitting here talking, but if you've done that for 8 hours, you will know about it. So it's probably better to kind of do it in bite-sized chunks and to book it in as a regular thing, rather than try and kind of solve your entire year's problem in one go.
Yeah, imagine that kind of best version of you does take focus. Even if you're stumbling from time to time, it's a case of just kind of power through. But yeah, people have come in saying, I want to do 5 or 6 episodes, and at the end of it, they can be really struggling.
I remember we had a fitness company came in, and they used one of our old studios actually, but they used it for an entire day. And they were a fitness company. They were fit young people, and by the end of it, they were absolutely cream crackered. So yeah, kind of look after yourselves while you're doing it, and it's probably better to book in for 3 or 4 hours rather than the entire day. Yeah,
I think people appreciate those as a good chunk of time, and at the end of it, it's definitely time to move on, and get a bit of fresh air and get out. But we will give you the time to. You don't have to just do it all back to back either. Again, the flexibility is here. We want to make it right for you. But yes,
to be honest, if I'm in doing it with somebody and I'm producing it, I want to have a break as well.
Well, yes, it can be. It's not stressful. It's time consuming, and we're trying to do the right thing. It's not just sitting in a room and talking. This is about making the right content for you.
If I come in, do I have to sign something? Am I tied in forever, or can I? Is it just a one-off thing that I sign up for? How does this work?
Well, there are you sign up if you want to be part. There are partnerships that we drop into, and as such, those agreements are there. But if you're with us for a long space of time, it's up to you. I mean, this is hopefully we would encourage you to stick around and keep working with us. I don't see any reason why we should kind of lock you in any pair of golden handcuffs.
No, I mean we
not that kind of video place.
We have had somebody come in and they used another studio elsewhere, and they realised after recording with us that they basically couldn't record with us because the other studio owned everything they'd got. And what we like what we like to think here is that we live and die by the service we give you. We want to actually create that relationship with you. We want to make friends with you on a business relationship, and make you want to come back to us, not actually force you to come back in. We want you to book in again because you've enjoyed the experience, you've got a good service, and you want to use us again. That's basically what we try and do here, not actually force you to come back.
No, there's no point in that.
We won't send the lads around saying, you got a podcast today.
Well, also, I mean, I'd like to think we're just honest with you, because people will come in and say, I've got an idea for a podcast, or they've got a podcast already and it's doing okay, and they think that they want to move into the studio side of it. And it might not be a business podcast. It's more likely to be a kind of sport one or a fandom one or whatever. There's obviously millions of podcasts out there. We're not going to just say, fine, great, book in for the next 10 sessions 2 hours ago, and there's suddenly there's $2,500 of your hard-earned money that will not have been earned from the podcast you've been making so far gone. That's not the point. We're not here to do that. If you've got a great idea and you're looking to expand it, and you're thinking there's some investment to be made, and you're going to be able to get sponsors, and we'll help you do that, and that's an exciting part of podcasting, is to see something that's really growing and has got that outreach out there. If you think, okay, well, I need to step into a studio to help that, great. If there is something that we can't see is going to expand, but you suddenly said, well, I'm going to spend £2,000 on this, I'm not going to take your money. No. I don't want to, because I don't want to see you disappointed. I'd really want to find a way to make it work, and we'll try and make you do that. But we're not here to just take that quick buck.
No, I mean, well, plan A, is what we're all aiming for, is to have a long and beautiful relationship where you're booking in we're obviously going to be charging you for that, but you're actually getting a really good podcast off the end of it, and that should hopefully go on forever.
Should do. As things don't fall over in the studio. That was my 8-year-old behind the camera. She's not here all the time. One final question then, and we're going to talk numbers. Can Yorkshire Podcast Studios guarantee me numbers from my podcast? Is it going to go viral? Is it going to be bigger than Joe Rogan? Is it going to be the podcast that everyone's talking about? Are we going to be everything on BBC Sounds?
Yes.
No.
I mean, one of the things about a business podcast, and we're no different, is that we should be honest with each other. And there is no way anybody on this planet can guarantee you that you're going to have world domination within a week. I've seen people promise 15,000 downloads inside the first week, that you're going to basically explode onto the scene and everything's going to be hunky-dory and you're never going to look back. You've got to put the work in. You've got to be patient with the podcast. But we will help you do that. We will help you steer it in the right direction. We'll obviously help you record the best quality podcast that you can get. And then from there, you should never view the recording process as the end of it. That is pretty much the start of it. You've then got to promote it. You've got to send it, put it in front of the right people who you'll work out very quickly. The reason for doing the podcast is you want to get it in front of your target audience. There are ways to do that through social media, through your own internal procedures with your own staff. But basically, world domination won't happen inside the first week. There are stats that very few podcasts go beyond episode 3. You've got to be a bit more patient than that. You've got to put the hard yards in. There will be times where your figures maybe aren't quite what you want. But by doing the right things, by putting out the right products, by being good on the podcast, getting your messages out there, and then telling people about it and shouting about it, being proud of it and really putting it under people's noses, then you will start to see the benefits.
The thing about particularly business podcasts and numbers is the numbers game is not about how many people are watching randomly. It's about are the right people watching. You are creating an extra stage of marketing. It's a marketing tool that you are creating in this podcast if it is a business tool. What you have to remember then is if you've got 500 people who are watching or listening to your podcast and they're watching a podcast that's about your business, however niche that may be, that's 500 people who are definitely wanting to watch until the end and listen until the end of exactly what you are creating. Imagine having 500 people in a room, listening to everything that you're saying. I mean, what a great captive audience that is, and you can do that as many times as you like every month. I mean, and it's there. Whereas you might have your 1,000 people listening if it's a podcast. But if none of them are the audience that you want, you're not going to make any sales.
It's a little bit like being the stand-up comedian, isn't it? And you've sold your tickets. As an established stand-up comedian, you'll go into your room of 500 people. They'll have all turned up because they're interested in you and they want to hear what you got to say and they want to laugh. Not every business wants to be laughed at, but if you are a stand-up comedian and you turn up into a room of 10,000 strangers, you hear them talking all the time about dying a death on stage and it all going horribly wrong. So you're wanting to try and put your podcast in front of your audience, in front of your potential customers, in terms of your brand and building your brand, that brand awareness, and hopefully getting some trade with those people down the line. So 33 people tuned in who are really interested, who might be potential customers, is far better than 10,000 people that couldn't really care less.
There's also the great possibility you have as a business is you've got a mailing list going anyway. You might have a membership club that you've got for your business, whatever you're in. You might already have that great marketing, all that data you've got. You can get this podcast out there to people who you think would probably like to watch what you're talking about, might want to know a bit more about it. If you have a mailing list anyway, and you're trying to sell them something in the written form, go for video. See what video can do for you, because video really can make that connection really quickly, as we've been talking about in this podcast. It's about those human interactions that people can watch it, think, okay, I like those guys, I like what they're doing, I like what they're talking about, I want to do my business with them. And actually the best way to know that what you're making in video form, whether it's just simple, small, short videos, or it's podcast videos, or audio podcasts as well, to know that they work for you as a business is if someone that you talk to says, well, it confirmed that I wanted to do business with you. It made the sale, is what you want to hear. what you don't want to know is whether 10, 20, 30,000 people are watching or listening to you, and they're not actually making that difference. It's the numbers game is really odd in podcasts because, I mean, to be top 10 in a podcast, if you're a new podcast going out, you don't have to be getting too many downloads in the first week in terms of audio, do you? No. It's a consistency of what you put out there on LinkedIn, what you put out on video, on your own website, that makes sure that people can see you as that human prospect that people will go to and go, I want to work with them. So numbers-wise, and that's not us just kind of saying, well, numbers don't matter. They do matter, because if you've got nobody watching or listening, then you have got a problem, and then we'll help to change things so they actually work. And
you should always be aiming to, with the KPIs in any industry, you'll be wanting to try and grow your podcast. But as I said before, I think pressing end on the record button and then pressing publish is not the end of the process. That is when you really start to shout about it, tell people about it, use those mailing newsletters, use your social. As an existing business, you've probably got social media channels already. Use those social media channels to tell people about it. Be proud of your podcast. Keep growing your podcast. Think about what your future episodes are going to be. Stick to that plan. Be reliable as a podcaster. So you've got that appointments review every week or every month whenever your podcasts come out. And reflect who you are as a business. If you are, a funeral director, you're probably going to be a little bit more straight-laced than if you're a sweet shop or something like that. But as human beings behind your business, show who you are, show that you can have a laugh, show that you're serious about what you do, show that you're reliable about what you do, but show that you're human beings that can smile about life as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine the funeral directors podcast. I think that might be pushing the envelope a little bit, maybe.
If you're watching and you're a funeral director, give us a call.
We'll give you a tour. Yeah. Maybe not the big sports studio next door.
Do you want... Funeral directors have probably kind of nailed that market down, haven't they?
They nail a lot of things down.
That trade is going to come regardless, unfortunately.
It's yes, there are certain inalienable yes. So yes, let's not go down that route. But right, that's not about us going, well, numbers don't matter, and they do matter. And do you know the best thing that I've kind of noticed so far? Well, two things really. One is that enthusiasm that people get when they get the spark, and the whole team get the spark and go, yes, this is good, this is going to work for us. How do we make it? And because it inspires the company. So then you have to put in those KPIs that go alongside it. Of course, it's a business decision, but if your business is kind of sparking with it, then go with it and use that, because if you've got something that a whole business can get behind, why not use it? And then it's the fact that certainly for a couple of the podcasts we've had so far, is that when you get your clients involved, they want to be on it. And then so it's not just your staff. Clients come on, suppliers come on, and suddenly you're talking to not just the people who work for you, you're talking to everyone who you're selling to, people who you're buying off. And it becomes this massive possibility for you.
It's a little bit about scratching each other's back, because the client will see being on your podcast as being a little bit of an advert for who they are. They can show themselves as being good people as well. And it's a guest for you, and it's another episode for you. And that's great. And one of the other things I think is that once you've published your podcast, make it a website article. It's content. What you've generated is content, and that's content that can go out as an entire podcast in its usual YouTube, podcast platforms. You can clip it out for your socials, but stick it on your website as a piece of content. You can write it up, and it only takes 150 words just to kind of just tell people what your podcast is about. Stick it everywhere you can possibly get it. Use your content.
We can
make it work for you.
We can do that for you as well. If you want to get it into a blog that SEO will pick up on. I mean, we are not far away from Google working on video and going, I can understand exactly what's going on there. But give it a helping hand. We'll put it into written format for you, and you can easily just put it straight onto your blog page on your website. And then embed the video on there as well. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
And it's very easy. All of that's very easy. Yeah. It sounds like it's a lot, but when you get into the flow of doing this, you kind of booking in, coming in, recording, getting your final podcast, publishing it, and then doing all of your socials, all of your website, and all of your promotion. It's a very seamless thing. Once you get into the swing of it, it's very easy.
So, frequently asked questions. Last one. Where are we? Not exactly where are we. We're at the end of this podcast. But where are we? Where are you based?
Bristol.
First.
Near Leeds, South Leeds, near the big. If you've driven along the M62 and you've looked to your left and seen the big IKEA, we're just behind there.
You've gone too far. Turn off.
Yeah, come back.
Come back. Just junction 27 of the M62. Free parking, tea, coffee, soft drinks.
And a friendly smiley face.
Someone put a dartboard in as well, but
Yeah.
it's just over there. I'm looking at it now. That's our podcast for this week. Frequently asked questions. Done.
See you soon.
Done.